My name is William Kennedy, and I'm here to tell you tonight why I am so fortunate. And it's not to brag, it's not to point out the challenges that other people may have, but rather it's to highlight my relationship with Providence Portland Medical Center and with the Providence Cancer Institute, how they've really indeed changed my life in a real way through their great work, clinical and in the research. But to tell you why I'm so fortunate, first I have to tell you why I'm unfortunate. So my wife and I live in Seattle. That's not why I'm unfortunate. Although we don't have a basketball team anymore, so we should fix that. My wife and I live in Seattle. And 6 years ago, quite by accident, I found out that I have kidney cancer. And I have clear cell renal cell carcinoma for the scientists who are out there. It's the most common form of kidney cancer. And so 6 years ago, I had my entire right kidney and a tumor a little bit bigger than my fist removed. Good thing is, I have another kidney on the other side. And so I was able to rely on that one. And we thought at the time that that might be it, and that I had dodged a bullet, and that there was no further work that was needed. But then again, in 2016, I found out that the kidney had metastasized. I had about a dozen tumors in my lungs. I have 4 lymph nodes that are involved with cancer inside of them. And I was getting cancerous tumors in my skin as well. And this was a very ominous sign. This is not the news that I wanted to hear. And so I went to Seattle Cancer Care Alliance. In Seattle, as you know, there's a lot of great medical care in the Seattle area as well. And I met with one of the leading kidney cancer doctors there. And he said very clearly, I can deliver the next treatment or the treatment that we have to you, or there's this guy down in Portland. And maybe you should go talk to him because he has a clinical trial. And so Dr. Brendan Curdy, who you see on the screen there, I came down and met with Dr. Curdy. Now, unfortunately, Dr. Curdy is not here this evening. He is off attending his daughter's college graduation, which is a fabulous milestone for their family. So I came down with my wife, we met with Dr. Curdy, and we had an instant positive relationship, an instant connection. I laughed at his jokes, he laughed at mine. Now, some of the other researchers have since told me I should not laugh at his jokes because it only encourages him. So I have to be a little careful about that. But one of the things I heard about Dr. Curdy during those first meetings was that he was a lab guy. He does research 4 days a week in the lab, and 1 day a week he sees patients. Now, I worked in the software industry for a small software company based in Redmond, Washington, for 26 years. I am very familiar with intellectually oriented, will be nice, intellectually oriented people who are truly focused on their intellectual passion, and Dr. Curdy is certainly one of those. But I thought, well, if I'm supposed to get the lab guy, I'll get the lab guy. And like I said, we had a wonderful connection. So I came down to Providence, and over the following 6 months, I went through 6 full rounds of high-dose interleukin-2 immunotherapy treatment. And this is the first line of treatment when you've discovered that your kidney cancer has metastasized. So this treatment was excruciating in so many ways. It was painful, it was unpleasant, it left a brain fog that lasted for months. It left other symptoms. There's a long, long list of symptoms that come from this treatment, of side effects. And some of those lasted for months as well. And unfortunately with this treatment, the vast majority of patients who go through it don't get a cure. I'm in that category. But I was fortunate enough that my cancer is now stable. Now, my cancer is stable, but I have an unusual condition where I have additional metastasis that shows up elsewhere. And so since then, I've had 8 different surgeries to remove cancer from my other kidney, from my adrenal gland, from my skin, from my bladder. Surgery's not something I ever thought I would get good at, but apparently it's sort of what I do when I have to. So that's why I'm a little unfortunate, is I have this situation. I still have cancer. We can see those tumors in my lungs and lymph nodes every 3 months when I have a CAT scan, and we always look at the results and try to figure out what's next. So that's why I'm unfortunate, but I want to spend the majority of this time telling you why I indeed believe I am incredibly fortunate. So first of all, at the very top of the list, I'm still here. And for all of the surgery that I've had, for all of the treatment, for all of the recovery from all of those, most days I have no symptoms. Kidney cancer is sneaky. It hides. It lets me feel perfectly normal most of the time. And so that's a blessing in that I've been able to live my life in the time since my treatment, which is fantastic. It's a true gift. I'm fortunate as well because I have a wonderful family and friends who are incredibly supportive to me. I don't know how people go through this experience without that. My wife, Angela, is here, my wife of 25 years, is here tonight. And my brother, Robert, is up from San Francisco. He's my brother of 51 years, by the way, if you were wondering. And I have two good friends who came from Seattle as well. And so my friends and family supporting me is a true gift that makes me feel fortunate every single day. Another reason why I believe I'm fortunate is because of the Providence, Portland experience that I had during treatment and since then. So I went through this 6 months of very intense immunotherapy treatment on 7 North. And it was truly unpleasant. But I want to show you a couple of pictures here that really show 2 of the highlights, 2 of the positive moments from that. Oh, back one, if you could. There you go. Okay. So this is from my IL-2. So the first picture on the left is a therapy dog that bounded into my room unannounced. About an hour before I got my very first dose of interleukin-2. And that was a wonderful surprise to me. And then the picture on the right, that is a picture on my very last day of treatment, December 31st, 2016, celebrating with the nurses, who were all there to see me off. In fact, Laurel Porter's daughter, Kate, over here, was one of my nurses on 7 North, and that was a fantastic experience. Having a dedicated oncology floor, having dedicated oncology nurses who are familiar with this treatment, who see it routinely, who know what to do, who work in close concert with the doctors who are delivering the clinical treatment itself, this is really something you just don't find anywhere else. It was a key part of why we chose Providence Portland Medical Center to do my treatment. And another thing that made a huge difference to us as a family, especially because we were coming from out of town, was the guest house. People saw a picture of it earlier, but it really is a fabulous facility. My wife stayed there during my treatment, and it really made a difference to us. So another reason that I really feel fortunate is that this treatment, my relationship with the researchers at Providence Portland, has given me time. The video earlier talked a little bit about time, but time is what we all want. You think that you can't buy time, but your gifts tonight really can buy time for other people because it can push their cancer out. It can offer treatments that aren't available today that will make that possible. For me, since my treatment, I've been able to do a lot of things with my family that are very important to me. So for example, one of my passions is wildlife photography. And so here's a picture of me and my son on safari in Zambia and some of the photos that I took there. Next year, if you want, I'll come back and do a talk on wildlife photography. It'd be a lot more fun for me. But talking about my treatment, but this is one of my passions, and I've been able to pursue this repeatedly since then. Another thing that our family loves to do is we love to travel. And so here's a picture of the four of us around the world in Jordan and Iceland on various vacations that we've done, and the treatment at Providence, Portland allowed us to be able to do this. And then, of course, family milestones are important. I mentioned Dr. Curdy's daughter's graduation. I've been able to attend my son's graduation from Georgia Tech, my older son's graduation from Georgia Tech, and I've been able to deliver our younger son to start his university career at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. And so those milestones have been truly important to me, truly important to our family. So I'm also fortunate in the relationships that I've built with Providence, Portland, with the Providence Cancer Institute researchers. So one relationship that I built on the clinical side, of course, was with Dr. Curdy. But there was 1 week of my treatment when Dr. Curdy was going to be out of town, and so he said, well, we have another doctor who can monitor your treatment during that week when you're here in the hospital. And I said, okay, who's this doctor? And he said, well, it's Dr. Walter Erba. And I said, you know, this was a long time ago. I didn't understand the full landscape, let's say. And I said, does he know what he's doing? And Dr. Curdy, you know, he didn't laugh. He should have, but he didn't laugh at my question. He said, oh yes, he's a very competent physician. No, he did not undersell you. He said, yes, Dr. Erba is very familiar with the treatment. He has a long history of delivering this clinically as well. He will do a fine job delivering this treatment as well. And I was a little grumpy, but because I like Dr. Curdy. I'm like, well, okay. So I come back for treatment for that round that Dr. Erba is going to monitor, and I check in with the nurses, and I remember saying to one of the nurses, who's this Walter Erba guy? And does he know? And to her credit, she didn't laugh either. She should have. But Dr. Erba, of course, proved himself to be a fine clinician in addition to a wonderful researcher as well, and I got incredibly high-quality care that week from him as well. And on the research side, I had surgery a month ago to take out my left adrenal gland because it had a big, giant tumor of kidney cancer inside of it. And when the researchers down here heard that I was having this surgery, and they had the opportunity to get some of those cells that you see in the picture, Dr. Fox, he went bananas. He wanted these cells. He made a bunch of phone calls. He had me sign a bunch of forms. He drew 13 vials of blood out of my arm. He really wanted these cells. And so the day of surgery, I'm up in Seattle having the surgery done, and the surgeon, who's an excellent surgeon, walks in, and I said, so do you have the whole tumor sample delivering to Portland thing worked out? And he said, what? So somehow the wires got crossed. I suspect it was in Seattle, but don't tell them I said that. Somehow the wires got crossed, and so my wife leaps into action on the phone, calling everyone we knew down here at Providence, Portland. And she got Dr. Fox on the phone, and they went back and forth, and there were phone calls made into the operating room while I'm on the table. And at one point, my wife calls Dr. Fox to work out these details during my surgery. And he says, I was about to get on a plane and come up there. So he was willing to do that just to get a bunch of these cells. Now, he didn't end up having to do that. They got all the details worked out, but I'm kind of disappointed that he didn't, because I would pay good money to see a video of him bursting into the operating room, give me the cancer cells. But he didn't have to do that, which was fantastic. But that's the kind of dedication that you get, not just from clinicians, but also from the researchers here. They're genuinely interested in solving this cancer problem, in solving this challenge. Another way that I feel very fortunate is my involvement in the Providence Portland Medical Foundation. I joined the board a little bit more than a year ago. I'm on several committees there as well. And I think that's a way that I can make a real difference, in making sure that other patients can get great quality medical care and to support the great research that's going on primarily in cancer at the Providence Cancer Institute. But the way I am most fortunate is the clarity that my situation has given me. What's important is time and friends and family and finding a way to make an impact on those around you in a positive way. This is what's important. And my situation makes that clear to me every single day. So tonight, all of you have an opportunity to help. You have an opportunity to buy time. I don't know what my future holds. I know what the statistics say my future holds. And I'm going to need a breakthrough. Something's going to have to change. New science is going to have to be done. And Dr. Erba assures me that I should not count out the work that his team is doing. But I do know that no matter what, that important work is going to help so many people in the future. And maybe, just maybe, it will help me a little bit as well. Thank you very much.